Val Verde is a quiet, you might say almost hidden residential community just off of Highway 126, west of I-5 in the Santa Clarita Valley. It's got all the basic services that a community needs, but it didn't always. I'm Leon Warden, and this is Legacy, Santa Clarita's Living History. Our guest remembers Val Verde, before there was running water.
Yes.
I'd like to welcome Elijah Canty to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Now, Elijah, you came out to Val Verde in about, 1949, I believe?
Yes.
Tell me the story that brought you to California.
I was living in New York, and I applied for my vacation. By working on the railroad, I would get passes to wherever I'd like to go that the railroad ran. So this time we decided we'd come out to California. We heard a lot about California, the Golden State, et cetera, et cetera. So when we left New York, I got a pass. When we left New York, there was 29 inches of snow on the ground, slush. It was terrible. So we had all of our heavy underwear, heavy coats that were used in New York in order to compete with the weather. But when we got to Los Angeles, it was one of those Santa Ana days with the temperature in the 70s, people walking around in their shirt sleeves. And I told my wife that I think I'd like to live out here in California. And at the time she said, it's a pretty good idea, and just left it at that. But I kept on her to come to California.
Now this is Miriam.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Finally she agreed. We didn't know anyone out here, but we came out cold, and they had a hotel for blacks on Adams Boulevard. Mm-hmm. And that's where we lived for the first 6 months that we were here in the black section of Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. At the time, neither one of us had employment, mm-hmm. but we had our savings that we had saved over the years for retirement, so we really wasn't in a hurry to get a job. And to learn the city, they had the red cars that went all over. And we'd get on one and ride to the end, and get on another one another day and ride to the end. And mm-hmm. that's the way we learned the city. And on one of the trips that went down Broadway, past Clifton's Cafeteria, there was a big sign outside saying food service training school. Mm-hmm. So with the idea in mind that we wanted to open a restaurant, I told my wife, and we agreed that perhaps I should apply. So I took the course, and being interested in food, I came out the head of my class. It was a class of 37 people. Yeah. Clifford E. Clinton, who owned Clifton restaurant chain, says, I like the way you conducted yourself through the course of the class, your interest and curiosity in food. I would like to give you an opportunity to join our organization. Mm-hmm. So I started on Olive Street, had a unit on Olive Street, mm-hmm. and I started in the basement washing dishes. And I worked up to assistant to the director of food. That was my job.
And you stayed there quite a while?
Yeah, 27 years.
Okay. Let me do the math real quick. You're 92 years old.
Yes.
And so in the 40s, you would have been in your 30s when you came out to Los Angeles. Give me a little snapshot, if you would, of, what Los Angeles was like immediately after World War II for blacks, and then how Val Verde played into that picture.
Okay. When I came to Los Angeles, it was a segregated city. I remember one incident particularly, that they had a swimming pool that we were permitted to swim in one day a week. And when we finished the day swimming, they would drain the pool and wash it and put fresh water in it. That's how they felt toward blacks. That was the law of the land, segregation, you know. So, through friends that we met, they told us about Val Verde. It was a nice place that movie stars, the black movie stars of there would come on weekends and have parties, etc. So we came out and we liked it. We liked what we saw. To us, it was like Disneyland at the time, because there was no segregation. They had a Olympic-sized swimming pool that the WPA had built with no restrictions. They didn't drain it after we got through swimming in it.
Let's hope not.
So we really enjoyed Val Verde, not only because of the conditions, but we enjoyed Val Verde itself, the beauty, the oak trees, the birds singing, and at night you can look up and see the stars. Beautiful surrounding, where in the city the stars are obscured by the lights and whatnot. So we really fell in love with Val Verde, and we would come up weekends and days off.
Were most people just there on the weekends, or how many permanent residents were there in Val Verde at that time?
Well, we have in the works a pioneer list of the people who live there permanently.
Yeah, their names and everything.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I'd say about 100 people that lived there. Most of the population at that time were farm workers who were hired to take care of the farms. There were a lot of farmland where all the buildings are in Castaic now. All that was farmland. Not all, but the majority of it was farmland. Yeah. And people, type people, I don't want to type people. I want to say that the majority of the people who did that farm work were of Mexican descent. And they were the one who had shacks, literally shacks, lean-tos, etc., in Val Verde. In the 1950s, Val Verde was not under any government control per se. If you wanted to build something, you build it. There's no inspector.
County didn't have very hard and fast rules then.
No. It was just a kind of forgotten segment, forgotten area that was self-governed, and that's the way it was.
Was there a neighborhood council or some kind of formal
something
or other?
Oh yes, we had our local government, so to speak, and it worked very well for us, because being a small community, everybody knew everybody, so to speak, and if a stranger came in, he'd be observed. And so that way, the very little crime rate. It was a nice place.
What kind of buildings were there? In 1950, did Val Verde have a restaurant? Did it have that sort of thing?
Yes, we had restaurants. We had a nightclub.
Really? What was it called?
Beg pardon?
Do you remember its name? Did it have a name?
Yeah, but I don't remember. They used to have beauty pageants every year, and muscle men competition. It was just a regular community that participated and created most of the things that you find in the average city, except that we didn't have government control as we have now on
Val Verde Park, I was looking back, I guess Val Verde Park was built in about 1939.
Yes.
That kind of became the center of the community activities, didn't it?
Yes.
What kind of, in the late 40s, 50s, even into the 60s, what were the activities? What went on? What was it like?
Okay. The swimming pool and the swimming pool house was the center of attraction. All of the events were held there at the swimming pool because that was the largest building and the permanent building of the community.
Right.
With a few alterations and improvements, is basically the same building it was then, and which is still the center of activities in Val Verde.
With the Boys and Girls Club and everything
Yes,
there.
yes.
But now there were, I know the Miss Val Verde beauty pageants, they went on even into like the 1960s
Yes,
and 70s. But
yes.
4th of July was a big time in
Yes.
Val Verde, wasn't it?
Yes.
What do you remember about that?
We were patriotic, like the average citizens, and we had parades. And in fact, the activities in Val Verde was similar to the activities in any small town in the USA. There was no difference.
In the early 50s, then, you bought property, I believe, in Val Verde, right?
Yes.
While you were still living in Los Angeles.
Yes. I eventually built my retirement home on that property. We built it ourselves, literally, not having a professional contractor. We would get advice from different people that we knew that was in the trade. It took us about 4 or 5 years because we weren't in a hurry because we were both working in Los Angeles. But it was completed in 1967.
Now, Miriam at the time, your wife, she was a teacher, I believe,
Yeah,
right?
she was with the Los Angeles City Schools for 30 years. She taught at Langdon. When she retired, she was at Langdon. But during her career, she held several administrative positions throughout the system.
So when was it that you moved permanently then to Val Verde? What year was that?
1974,
74.
when I retired.
And still there wasn't much in the way of public services. I mean, I get the idea that you pretty much had to fight for everything that's out there now in Val Verde.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Okay. I'm starting now in the early days.
Okay.
We had 2 party lines for the whole village of Val Verde. 2 party lines. So it is impossible to have a private conversation, everybody listening. Some of them made a hobby of listening in. The water, we'd have to bring water from Los Angeles because they had a well, rusty pipes and whatnot that the citizen had built on their own.
What do you mean bring water from Los Angeles?
To drink.
No, but I mean how? You didn't pipe it in.
In jugs.
Okay. All right, I'm with you now.
Yeah.
Of course, now Val Verde is served entirely by the state water project. All of its water now in Val Verde is state water, coming through the pipeline from Northern California. But
Yes.
I guess there was while Baxter Ward was supervisor,
Yes.
there was, I guess, a debate over whether Val Verde should hook up.
No, it wasn't a debate. We were given the opportunity to vote whether we wanted to accept it or not, because if we accepted it, the cost would go on our taxes.
Okay.
So before they forcibly put it on us, they wanted to get an idea how the citizens felt about getting it. You'd be surprised how many citizens, although we were using that water that wasn't fit to drink, objected to it because it would raise their taxes. So
I guess there was some kind of a debate.
Yes, they sent out postcards to vote on, and you'd mail them back in.
Yeah.
And myself and a lot of other people went around the community trying to convince the people to sign yes.
Okay.
And
so you were in favor of state water?
yes, yes. As you go into Val Verde today, most of the infrastructure that's in existence, we had to fight for it, literally fight for it. Street lightings, we got a light at a time.
Fight for it at the county board of supervisors?
Yes.
Yeah.
We had dirt streets. And the way we fought for pavement, you took out a permit. Finally, I guess in 55 and 60, the county began to recognize us and put restrictions on buildings and whatnot, restriction on lots.
Zoning codes.
Yes,
kind of thing.
yes. So if you applied for a building permit and you was on a dirt street, they wouldn't grant it.
Okay.
Because they said the fire equipment, if a rain come, they may bog down and whatnot. They had to be on a paved street. So that's how we got involved in fighting for paved streets. And
bit by bit, the people who wanted to develop homes paid for the pavement.
Yes, yes. And that's the way it got started.
Now, you and Miriam were involved in a whole lot of things out in Val Verde. I mean, I know that you guys helped form the Sam Dixon Health Clinic, and you were both on the appointed by, I guess, either one or two supervisors to work on the Santa Clarita Valley General Plan and that sort of thing.
Yes.
Tell me about some of the things that you were involved with, and about some of the people who you were also involved with.
Joanne Dorsey was my mentor, my role model, my teacher, everything. She introduced me to the community. She introduced Miriam and I to the different organizations. And gradually, we became known because we represented Val Verde. Val Verde became known. You used to say Val Verde and say, where's Val Verde? We wanted to improve our quality of life, and we felt the only way we could do that is to help improve the quality of life in the whole Santa Clarita Valley. That things that became available there by us being involved and working with them on a voluntary basis, that we became known in Val Verde. And Joanne Dorsey later became the representative of Antonovich, and she did, oh God, you never estimate the good that she did for Val Verde by taking requests that we made to her, to Antonovich, and he in turn were favorable for our community. And gradually, that's how Val Verde got to where it is today.
Tell me about the Val Verde, the Val Verde Civic Association, and for that matter, the Castaic Area Town Council.
Yeah.
Tell me about some of that, grassroots community organizing stuff.
Yeah. Well, the Val Verde Civic Association was the governing body from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It involved the people who lived in Val Verde. Dorothy Taylor, one of the original pioneers of Val Verde, she lived to be 103 years old. And three days before she died, she told me, I used to visit her every day because we live right across the street from each other. We've known each other for years. She said, you know, so many people do things and it's forgotten. She said, I want you to do something for me. I said, fine, what? She says, between you and I, we know the original people who participated in the development of Val Verde. Mm-hmm. You see, we had a senior citizen club, and that was like the governing body, so to speak, the Chamber of Commerce, so to speak, but that group was the group that made the glue that held Val Verde together and helped Val Verde to develop. And she says, I don't think that those people should be forgotten. Mm-hmm. It's a funny thing, you know, as life goes on, you just take everything for granted and you don't feel as what you do is important. You know, you just do it and you enjoy doing it and that's that. But I have a friend, Frank Garden, who worked for Waterman. Waterman was the guy who sold the land to the county to establish the park.
Okay.
And Frank Garden would sell lots. Mm-hmm. For the grand price of $250 to $300. But the problem was, as it turned out later, there were 30-foot lots, mm-hmm. 30 foot by 100. Mm-hmm. So in order to build a house, you almost had to buy two. Mm-hmm. But the ownership of the lots was scattered all over the United States. You know, people would come in like by and they'd buy a lot, not thinking about the future, that what they could do with 30 feet, you know, but mm-hmm. I own a lot in Val Verde, so that was the incentive. So Frank Garden is a photographer, and he has the history of Val Verde. He was a class behind me at Tuskegee University when we went to school there. Mm-hmm. So I've known.
Serve in the military?
Beg pardon?
Did you serve in the military?
Yes.
What did you do?
That's a story by itself.
Name, rank, serial number. You know the basics.
Okay, basically, quickly. When they examine you for your IQ, mm-hmm. when you first joined,
yeah.
Okay, they didn't have computers like they have now. You had this yellow sheet with holes in it, and under each hole was a category of your history and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And it was in a box, and they'd run a rod through it and pull it out. Uh-huh. Okay. I wound up in Utica, New York, at a camp where they were teaching illiterates how to sign their name and whatnot. So I asked the lieutenant, why was I here? Mm-hmm. So he asked for my record and looked at it, and he said, well, I'll ask the same question. He said, but I can't ship you out until the next group mm-hmm. go out. Mm-hmm. He said, in the meantime, would you mind working in the classroom, correcting papers? I said, sure. In the meantime, I learned from the staff sergeant that when they run that rod through, if your classification didn't come up, you stayed there. So I said, well, can you take mine out? He said, sure. He took it out. I mean, I don't know whether that's a crime or what, but anyway, that's what happened. So when the next group went out, my name wasn't on it, and God, millions of people, nobody remember me as an individual, you know, I was just another soldier there. But I became ill and with a skin infection, and I was discharged with an honorable discharge after being in the Army for 4 months. And to be eligible for service, you had to be in the Army 3 months. So I got all the honors and whatnot as being a discharged soldier.
Yeah. Was that during World War II or before, or what? When was that? About what?
That was in 1941, and I was discharged on December the 7th, 1942.
That's an interesting anniversary.
I won't forget that date.
You know, we're going to have to wrap this up. I just want to know if there's anything that you want to be sure to talk about that we haven't already talked about, particularly has to do with Val Verde.
Well, Val Verde is a beautiful community, and I'd like to be a salesman to invite people to come and live in Val Verde. It's a beautiful place. It's law-abiding. Crime is minimal. We have a lot to do, a lot of infrastructure to put in, but I would invite young people who are adventurous and want a beautiful place to live to come to Val Verde.
Well, I know that a lot of the reason that it is what you just said is because of you and a couple other people like you who've put their heart and soul into the community. And so I want to, thank you, acknowledge you for that, and thank you for coming on the show. I'm Leon Warden, and this is Legacy, Santa Clarita's Living History. We'll catch you next time.